considering I'm quite partial to a Western, it's taken me longer than it should have done to watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I think maybe I just put it off because obviously it's such a well-received film and I wasn't sure how I'd feel. I obviously hoped I'd liked it, and I can say that I liked a lot of it, but there are bits of it that I just didn't think were that amazing. Bearing in mind it's on a pedestal and I expected this fantastic, flawless, perfect film, but there are a lot of westerns that I prefer, and certainly older westerns as well, where the production value is a lot less, but I feel like the narrative is more interesting. This was released in 1969, and I will say it feels a bit more modern, just the quality. The quality of the actual film itself is a lot better than I'd expected. I don't know if it's been remastered. I watched it on Disney+, so if anybody knows if that has been remastered at all for the Disney Plus streaming, feel free to let me know. But it does look really good and much more contemporary than it actually is. Directed by George Roy Hill, written by William Goldman, and stars Paul Newman and Robert Redford. And the description from IMDb sums it up quite nicely, and this says, Wyoming, early 1900s. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid are the leaders of a band of outlaws. After a train robbery goes wrong, they find themselves on the run with a posse hard on their heels. Their solution? Escape to Bolivia. I quite like the fact that they're on the run. Usually when I'm watching westerns, it's either about an individual outlaw moving from town to town, or it's about a family whose lives are being put at risk by people coming into the town. So this one's a little bit different to most of the westerns I've seen before, and I kind of like that. I think for me, just the chase wasn't that exciting compared to what I'd expected when they were journeying to Bolivia, and the things that they encountered, the risks they encountered. It wasn't quite what I was hoping for. Again, not bad. Nothing bad about this film at all that I could identify. I just felt like I'd expected something so fabulous. And for me, compared to other westerns that I've seen, it was kind of average in terms of the narrative style. As I said, though, production value seemed to be a lot more impressive than the 1960s would have suggested. Special effects were really good. One of my favourite bits, actually, and I don't want to spoil it, but they jump, and the noise that follows that, the vocalised noise that follows that jump, is just fabulous. Beautiful sound quality, and I can't spoil it by telling you what scene I mean, but hopefully you will know the bit that I mean. I also loved the sounds of the horse's hooves. I feel like they got the balance just right. Not too noisy that it kind of drowned out the rest of the dialogue and the action, but not so faint that it didn't feel realistic. That's something that I get very particular about for no apparent reason. When I'm watching a Western, I love the sound of horses' hooves. It just helps me feel like I'm there, and this certainly got that right. Camera quality, directing, camera angles, editing, all very beautiful. Acting, obviously great. Paul Newman as Butch Cassidy, Robert Redford as the Sundance Kid. I thought they both gave really brilliant performances that were very believable. And obviously in terms of accolades, this has done phenomenally well. It won 4 Oscars. It was nominated for an additional 3. One of the categories it was nominated for was Best Picture. Midnight Cowboy actually won that. It was also up against Hello, Dolly, which is a pretty brilliant film that I really enjoyed. But, had it won, I would have understood why. But it didn't. And I haven't seen Midnight Cowboy. Now I need to. The ones it did win Best Writing, which for me, I can't really agree with that. Compared, of course, it depends on what it was up against. Best Cinematography, absolutely. Best Music, Original Song, for the song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. I had no idea that is the film from which that song originated. And when that song appeared, he's riding on his horse and that song's playing over the top. And I just thought, what on earth? This is not at all the song that I expected for this film. And there was another song later on in the film that was really unexpected as well. I can't remember it. I wasn't, it's not a song I was aware of previously, but Raindrops definitely was, and I was just mesmerised, and I still kind of can't work out why that song's in there. It doesn't feel like it would fit, but obviously it was written for it, and it's really bizarre, but really a lovely song. It also won Best Music Original Score for a motion picture, not a musical, which, yeah, I completely agree with. It was also nominated, for Best Director and Best Sound. If it had won Best Sound, yeah, I definitely would have understood. It won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 BAFTAs, which is ridiculous. Very, very well for itself. 8 out of 10 on IMDb, which is ridiculously phenomenally high for any film. Very well received, loved by a lot of people. And I can see why. I can understand why. I just think for me, the narrative didn't quite hit the mark. The development, the pacing, it wasn't quite what I was looking for. The characters themselves were quite interesting, but I feel like at times it wasn't enough to keep me fully engaged. But the technical aspects of the film, beautiful. If I were to recommend any Western to you, this would not be in my top 5, but maybe in my top 10, because visually it is spectacular. Glad I've finally seen it. I'd say it was worth the wait. If I'm in the mood for a Western, probably not a film I'd gravitate towards automatically, but if it's on TV, absolutely I would give it a watch. And I should probably also mention, in terms of factual accuracy, this isn't something I've really touched upon, but I can't comment because I do not know how accurate this is. Apparently there's no evidence, no conclusive evidence linking Butch Cassidy and Sundance to the robberies, but I don't know. If you know a lot about this subject, feel free to educate me. I'm very interested to learn more about this, but I can't really comment on it myself. Either way, a really thrilling film. Maybe not as good as I expected, but still high up there.